What is the most ideal thing for making maximum money in college? How do you build a network as an introvert? How to balance college life and personal projects? Do we need interest in coding to succeed? Do you go into AI? I have collected a list of hard-hitting questions from this community, and in this episode of Yappware, you're going to sit there and increase my watch hours. Yappware! If you are in your first or second year of college, what do you think is the most ideal thing a college undergrad can do during their college time for making maximum money? The best strategy in my opinion is to focus on landing a well-paying job at the end of 4 years. When you are a highly skilled person, opportunities come looking for you. When you set skill-specific goals instead of money-specific goals, you will attract opportunities inaccessible to most people. This means your complete focus should be on developing skills that get you a job. This will naturally get you internships, some hackathon money, maybe some from freelancing, but this will amount to nothing in front of a stable 9-to-5 income that you will get eventually. And besides, college years are f***ing precious, man. Just put yourself out there, make friends, connect with people, and get to know how the world works. After college, you'll be lonely anyways. What is the actual interview and shortlisting process? How much DSA, and should we focus more on projects for getting hired? This is a question I get asked on literally every single video. Today, we literally have tools that solve DSA problems in interviews and tell you exactly what to say to the interviewer. If you take this book from 2008, you'll find most DSA questions to be elementary. The bar keeps rising as competition increases. More and more companies are starting to ask you lead code hard questions, and you literally cannot solve 99% of these unless you have actually encountered them before or you are cheating with AI. And as companies start to realize this, more and more interviews are going to be focused on job-specific skills, your interpersonal skills, code quality, system design, and metrics that actually matter in production. I've seen this trend rising rapidly on Reddit, Instagram, LinkedIn, Discord, people I trust, and through my actual personal experience. TLDR, skill is the new king. If you're skillful, you shall be blissful. What is the optimal pen-to-paper data transfer rate in words per minute for a 500-line C++ data structure that is due tomorrow at 8 AM? 3 silver chess. How can someone get internships or jobs from open source contributions? Is it really tough or need expertise in the subject to get internship from open source? Fuck yeah! Landing a job through open source is really fucking hard. And you might have seen some YouTubers talk about it like it's nothing. This is called bias of generalization from experience. People often assume since this thing worked for me, it should work for everyone else. But if you rationally think about it, your chances of finding a funded and profitable open source project with few contributors that is actively looking for employees is very low. And that's just not how the world of open source works. It works on the spirit of contributions, charity, and compassion, not transactions. But that's not even the main reason. Understanding a large code base, how components are intertwined with each other, its design patterns and philosophies, and how data travels is a really hard job, especially if it has tech debt. Some even say that college students shouldn't even contribute to open source simply because it's too hard. Do we need interest in coding from within to succeed, or can it be built through hard work? You will never get good at programming if you don't enjoy it. Shut the fuck up, shut up. No one is born a programmer. No one looks at null pointer exceptions all day and is like, man, do I love doing this thing. I personally know several bros who used to hate programming and still developed a huge interest later on, because mastery comes before passion. Mere exposure effect is a well-documented psychological phenomena where people develop a preference for something simply because they are familiar with it due to repeated exposure. A study found that even just being exposed to new information, like watching a TED talk on any topic, increase students' motivation to learn more. Am I saying this so you watch my content more? No. Does this mean you should watch my content more? Hell yeah. So yes, you build it through hard work. What's your age and education background? Your name? Are you Indian? What company you work in? Which college? What was your batch year? Duration? You like boys? Like, are these wedding proposals? Are you guys looking for someone to marry your daughter? What is the skill set that makes a person a good CS engineer? As I explained in this video, the core skill boils down to problem solving and intellect. That's literally it. But in order to build that skill, you need perseverance and discipline. And assuming you'll be working in cross-functional teams and you need to clear interviews, you need a lot of soft skills like professionalism, communication, and empathy. Getting better at a skill is a different thing, and getting employed is a different thing. Please tell us how to get employed in this crashing economy of recession in CSIT fields. Making resumes, showing work online is done by many, but only a handful get paid? This is a very thoughtful question. Fantastic. Most people don't realize how messed up today's job market is. I learned this the hard way. Students with 3-digit contributions, complete DevOps skills, mind-blowing projects are unable to pass a single resume screening after applying to over 1,000 applications. You're actively competing against experienced engineers from big tech who keep getting laid off. A girl from my college who couldn't reverse a linked list in a Microsoft interview landed a 30 LPA job. My friend with 3 legitimately banger research papers is still looking for a job 1 year later. An alcoholic who literally cannot even write a single line of code. Forget variable declarations. He doesn't even know what a variable is. He landed a 7 LPA job at Deloitte. Students who have confessed to cheating in interviews got selected in Amazon and Flipkart from my college. One day you get an interviewer who's looking for a senior architect level skills in a tier 3 college. The next day you'll find an AI written programming question in OAs that is literally unsolvable. What I need you to realize is that the average salary for a software engineer fresher in India is not 20 or 30 LPA as most influencers would like you to believe. It's approximately 4 to 5 LPA. This is a very true and harsh reality, and you will be peaceful as soon as you realize it. I've made a few videos explaining on how to gain skills that actually get you a job in excruciating detail, so I'm not going to repeat it here. Do you go into AI? Personally, I only go into Clippy. Hey Manware, I want to ask how to understand market demand in this noise of buzzwords so that one can place the right bets instead of inflating the bubble. That is a really important question to ask. When I started learning AI in 2021, it was a rather niche field. After 6 months having done an internship, I wondered the need of an ML engineer when all you have to practically do is feed data into a function that does everything on its own. What I should have done is to search ML jobs on LinkedIn and see the skills that companies want. I would have met with a lot of MLOps stuff, building CI/CD pipelines, ETL jobs, etc. But because ML was a niche field back then, the supply was as low as the demand, so it balanced out the odds. However, after the advent of this fucking node, everything changed in a snap. Everyone started to rush into this field with already low demand, and you see the consequences now. So if you want to understand the market demand, all you need to do is compare it to its supply. Supply is judged based on its hype and popularity. Demand is judged based on the number of job openings. I wish it would be as easy as this, but practically you have to develop a sense of business acumen by being active in the community, following tech news, socializing with real humans in your real life and not just brainwashed Twitter NPCs, and gaining experience. How to build a network as an absolute beginner and as an introvert. Like, some of these questions you are asking are really good. These are the right questions you should be asking. In 2020, I locked myself in a room for a year. I had nearly zero social interaction for a year straight, and when I joined college, I was unable to answer even very basic questions like, how are you Manware? So what I did was I started to volunteer in clubs and chapters. I started to force myself into these social situations that I would feel uncomfortable in. When improving your interpersonal skills, often being uncomfortable means you're moving in the right direction. But the key factor here is emotional resilience to withstand the pain and awkwardness that comes with it. If you cannot regulate or handle your emotions, you'll give up and get back to zero. It's a never-ending cycle. I developed a reputation for awkwardness, but over the years I improved and was able to clear interviews that I'm 100% sure I couldn't have if I didn't put all the effort. So sign up for as many social events you can, seek discomfort, practice regulation, and repeat. Easier said than done. How did you learn all this? Like, your journey? This is another frequently asked question, so I'm going to keep it a secret so that you guys can goon over it for a while. What music do you listen to while programming? I like listening to chill instrumental OSTs. They don't distract me, improves my focus, doesn't waste my dopamine, reduces stress, which might indirectly also improve my cognitive skills. Doesn't work for everyone. What you eat to acquire such god-level development skills? Big fans, sir? Who the f is sir? Brilliant question, Sajal Rawat. Most people just don't realize how mundane things like your diet, sleep, air quality, and your posture drastically influence your cognitive capabilities. Like, you cannot function on palm oil, carbs, and 6 hours of sleep. Even a legally drunk person has more cognitive capabilities. If your room CO2 level is more than 1400 ppm, your decision-making scores can drop by up to 50%. Slouching your head just 3 inches forward can drop drop your mental processing speed by 20 to 30%. You must pay attention to all these facts. Like, you guys must look into improving your sleep and diet. You'll start to feel alive and less like an NPC. I'm a gym freak, so I make sure I get all my vitamins and proteins and omega-3s. How did your first interview go? I was sleeping 5 minutes before my first interview started. The first question he asked was to introduce myself. The second question he asked was I sleeping before the call? Yeah, I got rejected. What are your resources to find such niche and interesting things? Like, how do you even stumble upon things, and from where do you get it? I've always wondered this while watching other YouTubers as well. And to be honest, you just explore your own rabbit holes and niches on the internet. You gain a personalized experience and discover a unique set of things that no one else does. I know this is a bummer of an answer, but it is what it is. How to become a data scientist in India, and is it even good and future-proof? I don't know why suddenly, but I'm getting so many people asking me about data science. It's the most mediocre field, honestly. Work is mid, skills is mid, salaries is mid. Everything about it is just very mid. But it does have a mediocre job market. And if you really go hard on SQL, companies like Oracle and JPMC might pay you hefty for your skills. And as with any other technology, it's only future-proof if you are skilled enough. Sometimes I wonder that if AGI is right around the corner, like 2028, and if it's going to replace all humans, there's not even any point to all this. I have a preteen cousin and my aunt keeps asking me for his career advice. That motherfucker is a Gen Alpha. He is addicted to screens harder than my schlong when I see Clippy. And if AGI is going to come anyways, should I even force him to study and shit? Shouldn't I just let him live his Roblox years? Yare, Dhoni Kaku. Height reveal. 2 California burritos. You guys seem to be very keen on how I edit my videos. Firstly, I just watched a 20-minute beginner Premiere Pro video and learned the rest by just experimenting on my own. Secondly, I don't do anything special at all, except maybe imagination. I use Figma to make designs and export them into Premiere Pro. There, I only use the basic features. I'm still learning how to create a whole experience that flows naturally and draws in emotions of the audience. I believe you're a multitasking guy. How do you manage to do all this? Academics, music, job, and everything else. I always burn out, so any suggestions? A fantastic observation. I'm going to answer this seriously. I hate bragging, but come on, you asked for it. So most of you guys might not know this, but the moment you return back from your 9 to 5 and come back home, your body is broken. Your frontal lobes are completely drained out. Motivation becomes deprecated, and all you wish to do is turn on that sleep mode. The exhaustion is insane. I currently manage a full-time job alongside an even more demanding YouTube job, alongside gym, meditation, and regular sleep to keep my sanity. The reason I'm able to manage all this and not fall into cell phone addictions or procrastination is because I am internally motivated. Neuroscience tells us that your brain has 2 working modes. It's either externally motivated or internally motivated. The former makes you a puppet of external circumstances, while the later gives you full control over your life. It's like exiting tutorial mode and finally stepping in the real game. Transitioning into internally motivated state is a lengthy process. It involves quitting your addictions, fixing your diet and sleep, working out physically, detaching to outcomes and focusing on the present, and gaining a hold over your emotions. If you want to dive deeper, check out this video. Though you don't really focus on this, but is it possible to give a guide on how to balance college life and working on projects? This is another very frequently asked question, and I always get confused on why you guys are unable to do so. Because I was a day scholar. I used to wake up at 7, travel to my college by 9, and get back home by 8 p.m. I was at a major disadvantage against hostlers who lived 5 town halls away from the college. And yet, I vanquished AIML, learned full stack development, app development, Linux if you count it as a skill, completed NEET Code 150, and landed the very first placement at my college in the 5th semester, all while scoring 9+ GPAs. What is your secret, Manware? So upon launching a thorough, multifaceted investigation, my research team found out that the actual problem lies in procrastination. And it just so happens that my next video is going to be about it. I got you. Now you gotta subscribe. There is no way out of this. Okay, there's no way you just sat through all of my yapping so far and did not enjoy it. Like, for the amount of dopamine I just gave you right now, I at least deserve a subscribe. And thanks for watching, Manware.